Welcome to the Fool's Guild, where we talk about everything video games.
Gen 3.
Gen 3. Okay. Let's
Gen 3, they introduced actual color to the Pokemon world.
Yes, thank goodness.
Instead of just having two colors per Pokemon, they had like full, like an RGB spread.
And they had minor movements with your Pokemon. Like I remember Wurmple would have like a little and put its head back in the, like they were basically just stretching like the pixels a little bit, then putting them back into place. But I mean that was still nice at the time, as aside from like little poof, the Pokemon is just there. So that was good.
I also think the animations were incredible in Gen 3.
Yes.
Like I think Gen 3 has like some of the animations are way better than like the rest of the series. Like the Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6, Gen 7, and like I'm not even gonna talk about Gen 8 because they have no animations. But yeah, Gen 3 had some crazy effects and animations that I just think have never been the same since. Just like the screen shaking and like crazy stuff.
So how'd you feel about, again, let's go back, simple, easy, starters?
Starters in Gen 3. It's kind of crazy because I like all of them for the first time.
Yeah, me, the exact same way. I played through Emerald so many times. Like, okay, I started, like, that was my first experience with speedrunning, basically. It's like, all right, how fast can I go through Trico? How fast can I go through with Combuskin? Oh, Torchic, there we go.
Torchic.
How fast can I go through with Mudkip? I'm like, it was just a fun little thing to do. It's like, all right, catch this Pokemon. I can use Surf to get here faster. It was just such a fun little thing to do. So they all hold a very special place in my heart.
Yeah, it was really replayable. The other games, like especially like from Gen 2, like Gold and Silver and Crystal, because you had so much content, it was like one playthrough was enough. But in Gen 3, it really felt like replayable, where it was like, okay, like I want to experience it this way with the different starters, because it was just like different.
Yeah.
But yeah, this gen also introduced abilities.
Abilities for the first time. Yeah, that's one of the first time we got Overgrowth, Blaze, Torrent,
Swarm.
What's another, just a very silly one? Just, this Iron Fist or whatever, just, random things for Pokemon basically to like boost their relevancy and everything.
But then you also had access to like interesting mechanics like Wonder Guard and the interactions with that. And then you also had weather introduced. So you had sun, hail, rain, and sandstorm, which doesn't really exist.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. It's basically hail, except I don't dread it at all.
And then you had like cast form with forecast, and the shitty thing about cast form is that it has no sandstorm form. So it has like the other three weather forms, but it's just like no sandstorm.
Yeah, it's like it's got its base form, sunny form, wind form, ice form. Does it have an ice form?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has like a little swirly head. Like that. I thought that was like supposed to be like the wind or something. I guess they could have been like, I don't know, a snowflake or something. Just like different, but not wind bits, but yeah. And when you go to just skipping ahead here. When you go to the Weather Institute, it's like, we have this super rare Pokemon. I'm like, what is it? It's Cast Form. It's like, oh man, I can't wait to use Cast Form. I'm like, Cast Form, use Weather Ball. This thing is worthless. And then it's like throwing it into my PC.
I think it has like 20 or it was like 40 stats or 60 stats across the board. I'm like, this is just so generic. It's just like a flavored Pokemon. But yeah, its abilities doesn't do anything. If it actually interacted with weather in a meaningful way, it would be better.
Yeah.
And also hail is just way worse than like anything because there aren't a lot of abilities that interact with it. But also like what Sandstorm does is Sandstorm, if you're a rock Pokemon, it'll boost your special defense by 1.5. And a lot of people don't know that. But hail doesn't do that for ice.
Really? Does it at least raise their evasion or something?
Nothing.
That's very stupid.
That's like if you have Snow Cloak, it raises your evasion, or like Snow Body or Ice Body, it raises like your health. But like, yeah, rock Pokemon just have a way bigger advantage than ice Pokemon in that regard. So if they ever rework ice, they definitely need to add like, defense is boosted by 1.5 or something.
Yeah, because I don't think there's any actual memorable like ice type trainers at all. Other than, was Lorelei one?
Lorelei was like Elite Four, and then I think there was an Elite Four member called Glacia.
Glacia, yeah, and she's in Gen 3.
Gen 3.
Yeah, it's like you kind of just swept through her because ice type Pokemon are weak to everything. You look at them a funny way and they just break in half.
You had Price in Gen 2, you had Candace in Gen 4.
And then there's Bryce in Gen 5, but again, and then there's Wolfric in Gen 7. And it's like, ice can be heavily formidable or weak, and I'm like, you're weak, bro. It's like, I want ice to be cool.
That's the first time in like Gen 6 where they made an ice type Pokemon that wasn't just like a glass cannon with Avalugg, but we can go into that later.
Yeah.
But most ice Pokemon are like offensive because their defense is terrible. Because they're weak to so many things and they only resist one thing.
Yeah.
And it's ice.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would you ever want to use an ice type Pokemon unless it's used in conjunction with either another type that's good with it, like Steel maybe, but even that's like
it's like you can't,
more weak to everything.
Yeah, you can't make your, say, Aggron jump in front of an attack that was meant for your Glaceon or just Glalie. There we go. Yeah, isn't this the generation that also introduced double battles?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I really like double battling. I don't know why.
Double battles are like a staple now because VGC, which is basically like a 4-on-4 like doubles match, is like the official Pokemon like battle. Which I'm like, why? Like, isn't the official like battle supposed to be singles? But Pokemon thinks VGC is really, really good for some reason.
The reason why I like double battling is, like, say in the main game, is say like when you're getting towards the end of the game, you're basically one-shotting everything because you know type matchups and your Pokemon are really strong. It's like, I just want to sweep through these guys so I can go ahead and get to the Elite Four, basically. Yeah. But I understand that one-on-ones is supposed to be more of a symbolic, like, wit against wit type of thing going on.
Yeah.
But again, let's go to the gym leaders for a second, because I feel like they were all kind of memorable, as in they really had their place. Like, starting off with Roxanne, she felt like a very, like, going back to rock type gym leaders, she felt like somebody who I feel like your character really needed to overcome, because going back and remembering my playthroughs through Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, I always had to get my Pokemon up to like level 16 so they could learn, like, you know, their actual like good grass type move or good fighting type move, or like, I remember Grovyle learned Leaf Blade or something like that around that time. Then Combuskin learned Double Kick, and then Marsh Stomp learned Mud Shot. So it was like I had to actually get myself prepared before going off to fight the gym leaders and everything. And then there was Brawly, and it's like, okay, I know I can't just bring my starter in here, so I gotta go catch like another Pokemon, you know, get an HM, go talk to Mr. What was his name? Brian? The old sea captain? Yeah. Then you had to meet Steven down there. And who was the third gym leader? Was that?
Watson.
I was gonna say Maurice for some reason. Like Mr. Maurice,
No, particularly like Roxanne, I definitely felt like, because like before when you fought Brock, and there's also like Fire Leaf Green in this generation, so you could see Brock again. But his Pokemon, Onix and Geodude, were both ground Brock, so they were both 4 times weak to both water and grass. So it was easy to beat them. But Nosepass was like strong against, or it was only a ×2 weakness to both of those, so it was like really hard to beat it.
Yeah.
And it had Rock Tomb, which made you slower, and just like none of your Pokemon really resisted Rock at the time.
Yeah.
So.
And again, going back to abilities, this is when Sturdy got introduced too.
Yeah.
So no just one-shotting rock type Pokemon anymore.
And she like heals her Pokemon, so that's annoying.
Yeah, she had super potions for the very first gym leader instead of just regular old potions.
Yeah.
And then those guys back at full health.
Watson and Brawly. Brawly was pretty hard just because his like arm thrust would just like crit you every time.
Yeah, I know, like this crazy stuff. Like I remember its meta type would use Detect like 4 times or 5 times in a row. And I was like, okay, well, now I just left myself open to an attack because I don't know what to do. It's like, is it going to use Detect again? Because I don't know how many times you can use Detect and actually have it work. So, yeah.
And then, like, Magneton from Watson would have, like, electric moves that, like, if you didn't have a Marshtomp for a ground Pokemon, it was really hard to deal with. And then you also had to deal with, like, Sonic Boom, which deals, like, 20 true damage. So it's just like, how am I supposed to like fight this? Like, because my Pokemon only has like 30 health. They can use Sonic Boom every turn.
Yeah, and I remember for some strange reason there was a newscast like double battle that you had to do, and her Magneton had Lock On, and another one of their Pokemon had like Hyper Beam or something. So my team, yeah, I was like getting like one shot by this Magneton that knew Hyper Beam of all things, and it couldn't miss. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do here? It really felt like a whole uphill battle the whole time through those games.
Yeah,
just trying to like figure out all these new moves, all these abilities, and like, okay, what beats what, and where am I going to go catch another Pokemon to help get me over the next hurdle?
Yeah, I thought the rest of the gym leaders, Flannery had a Torkoal that was really hard to beat. Norman, your dad.
Yeah, you actually have a dad this time.
You do.
Yeah, and good time.
And he destroys you a lot.
Yeah, with his freaking slacking.
Yeah, but slacking was really cool. Just like, again, Truant, like another ability. Like, this Pokemon has way overpowered stats, but it has like this drawback ability. And I think that they really tried to like make a good Pokemon with that, but they also like, I feel like experimented too hard and made some Pokemon kind of useless, like Cast Form and Slacking. Whereas in like Gen 2, I feel like they did that with stats. So they experimented with like Wobbuffet, where Wobbuffet has like an insane amount of health, and like so is Blissey. But Wobbuffet's just kind of either useless, but now he's not because he has Shadow Tag, which is just broken. But like they experimented too much with like Shuckle, like because he has like the highest defenses, but like no HP and no other stats. So it's like this gen they really tried to experiment with like Wonder Guard and like a bunch of like random abilities that made some Pokemon useless.
Yes. And who's gym leader number 6? Was that Winona?
It's Winona.
And
she had an Altaria with Dragon Dance.
Yeah, that was
Every gym leader had some.
Yeah, it's something
up their sleeve.
Yeah. And then did Tate and Liza only have their Lunatone and Solrock, or did they have like a Claydol and something else?
In Ruby and Sapphire, they just had a Solrock and Lunatone, and then in Emerald they had a Claydol and a Xatu, I believe.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or some other Pokemon.
Yeah. Nah, they weren't too bad.
They weren't too bad. Yeah. Their Pokemon had like they were really strong. I think they were like level 40.
Yeah, I feel like that was like good balancing around that.
And everything else in the gym was like level 30. So I was like, dang.
Yeah.
But it was a double battle, so it was good.
Yeah. And then we get to either Wallace or Juan, depending on good old Juan, depending on like what version you're playing. And his Kingdra also had Dragon Dance, so that was also kind of difficult to deal with. And I think Wallace, his ace was the Milotic at the time, and that thing was just really slippery. And didn't it have Recover too?
I think.
Yeah, so it was just kind of annoying.
He had like a Milotic, I think he had a Walrein and a Crawdon. Like just like a bunch of like strong Pokemon. Yeah, just like it's good for like the last gym leader to have just a very strong like set of Pokemon. Yeah. And then you get to the Elite Four, and they're just kind of pushovers. Yeah, like Sydney was the first one. Yeah, like I mastered Dark types. It's like, It's like I just caught like 500 Machokes and Hariyamas on Victory Road, bro. I'm sorry. Like this going. Okay. Then who's next? Like Phoebe? Yeah, it was like Glacia, Phoebe, and Drake. Drake would be more difficult if he actually had more dragon type Pokemon. He had like 3 Shelgons and a Salamence. Like, what are you doing out here, bro? He's just trying to represent Gen 3. Yeah. He's just trying to rep his region. Yeah. Give him a break. He's a sea captain or something. Yeah. And then you got, again, depending on version, you got good old Steven Stone with his Metagross and his very defensive team, which is going to just need a fire type or an electric type to deal with, basically. Yeah. A lot of fossils, a lot of rock, a lot of steel. Yeah. And then did he have all the fossil Pokemon? So he had a Leap, an Anorith, and did he have something else too? I think he just had a Cradilly and an Armaldo. Okay. And then he had like a Metagross, and I don't remember. He definitely had Skarmory on there. Probably. Yeah. I want to say Skarmory also set spikes too. Really? I want to say that. He was smart with it. Yeah, it made the AI wasn't completely stupid, so yeah. That's good. Yeah. One of my favorite things about this generation though was that they had Pokemon, like the version exclusives, and they made a lot of sense. So like in Ruby, you would have like Aggron and like Camerupt. Those are like lava and rock and steel Pokemon. Yes. And then in Sapphire, which is more water, you would have Walrein and like
Was it Sharpedo?
Sharpedo.
Yeah.
You would have those on like the Team Magma and Team Aqua. Like they would use those Pokemon as like their like main Pokemon. So I just thought it was really cool to see like them implementing the version exclusives and tying it into the themes of the game,
Yes.
as well as like the villain team and having it all like be cohesive.
Yeah, man. The whole region was pretty much set up as on the land, like that's where everybody's living basically. And then the water was like, like it was basically half and half the whole time. And then what was it called? Evergrande City, even though it only has a singular Pokemon Center there.
Yeah.
It had like a waterfall and then like a little patch of land just for like the Elite Four area. Yeah. So I'd like to talk about the evil teams, the quote unquote evil teams a little bit.
All right.
Okay. So if I had to say I had a preference between the two, I would say I like Team Magma more. Only because of like the version exclusives, one, and because I feel like I could get behind Maxie's idea to expand the land a little bit more. Just a little bit, because I don't like Archie's idea, like, hey, let's just like drown everybody, basically. Like that doesn't make any sense, bro. What are you talking about?
He just likes the sea, man.
He just likes to see. He's like, I want to fish more. Just sit out on a boat all day and just like drink beer. Yeah. Going off of that as well, I have to say I really like Emerald more because it gave both teams importance as opposed to just like Ruby, Team Magma's in charge, Sapphire, Team Aqua's in charge, basically. Because I feel like the rivalry that goes on between Maxie and Archie is also like another added layer to what's going on.
Yeah.
Because we only get bits and pieces that they know each other, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to know just a little bit more backstory about them. It's like, how do they know each other? Were they like on, say, like, I don't know, like some evil team or whatever? Again, why are they fighting? How do they even learn about Groudon and Kyogre? There's like so many things that are going on.
I would have liked though, because there's like symbolic, like they're both symbolic of Groudon. Like Groudon just wants like the land, and so they're kind of like a cult for Groudon because like he will make the land like the only thing that the earth has, and Archie kind of represents like Kyogre, and it's like I'm gonna just drown the world in water.
Yeah.
But I wish there was like sort of a representation for Rayquaza, unless that was just the character.
I guess maybe,
But like
because your character kind of brings balance to both of them.
Yeah.
By going up to Skypill or whatever.
And like making them stop fighting.
Yeah, like yelling at them to go back to their rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also liked, honestly, the mythical Pokemon. I wish we saw them more because we get to that in Horas where it's like there's like a Delta chapter.
Yeah.
And then we get to see Deoxys like immediately after catch like Rayquaza. And so.
Yeah. You know what? This is when I feel like Pokemon really got to like a good little stride before we got the little mess up that was kind of sort of Gen 5, but not really because I went back and played the games. And then Gen 6 and 7.
We'll talk about
yeah,
that
really,
later.
look at that in a minute. But yeah, I really liked how you needed to go catch, like, say, a Relicanth so you could try to get on track to try to find all the Reggies and everything.
Yeah.
Because I felt like you were really like an explorer and everything. Just trying to find out like little hints, like dive into the world to figure out things that nobody else knew about.
Yeah.
And you had to read like Braille or something, and the only way you could read that Braille is by having a Relicanth on your team. It's like, I don't know how we figured that out at the lunch table as kids, but we did. Out of all things, it just felt so much fun to do. You know?
Yeah, it definitely felt a lot more like of an adventure. Like the world was a lot more, you have to go out and explore it. Like you had time-gated events like Mirage Island, where you can only find it on like certain days. I think it's like 1 out of every 800 days or something, you could see this island and go to it, and then nothing happens. But it's like it's there. And just like there are also random spots in the land where it's like there were things planned, but like they took them out. And then Emerald has a lot more because there's like more to explore in the Safari Zone. You can only get to certain places with different bikes, and it's just like you have to choose like what you take from the world and like actually go and explore it.
Yeah, I really like the acro bike.
The acro bike.
Yeah.
I like the mod bike.
Yeah, that's fair. You get around faster. I mean, by the time you got fly, it's like, well, I'm not actually biking anywhere, but you know. I just like the fact that imagine like on your way to Winona's town, you had to like pop a wheelie and like go over a bunch of platforms. So I was thinking to myself like, oh man, my character could fuck up and fall off at any time. But that obviously wasn't gonna happen. It was just fun to imagine. It made like the intensity of the journey just kind of pang the neurons in my brain, basically.
Yeah.
I also I just want to move back to Deoxys for a second. I like the whole rivalry between Deoxys and Rayquaza, and I feel like it should have been expanded just a little bit more in, like, say, the Delta episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in all of the other versions of Pokemon media, they just hate each other so much. You see them fighting constantly. Every time you see Rayquaza, it's like, oh man, where's Deoxys at? They're gonna start fighting again. Yeah, it's a good time.
Like, you know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
And then, like, in Destiny Deoxys, we get information about why Rayquaza hates, like, because apparently there's a whole bunch of Deoxys just, like, hanging out in space, apparently.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, Rayquaza's whole thing is like, yeah, you guys aren't supposed to be on this planet. Get off of it. it's just funny just to see. That makes me wonder, why doesn't Deoxys have, like, a Mega Evolution? I guess it's got, like, 5. That probably would be OP. Like, imagine Mega Evolution, Deoxys attack or something. Like, Mega Rayquaza's stats are already higher than God's, so you know. Poor Arceus is getting shoved to the side by its own creations.
They just fuse together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, destroy him.
Yeah. Okay, but let's talk about the rivals a little bit. Your rivals, May and Wally. You got a preference between either one?
I just want to talk about just May first, because May, like, you fight her like 2 or 3 times, and then afterwards she just goes back to her research and, like, works for her dad.
Yeah.
Because maybe she's just like, well, this Pokemon training thing's working out.
Yeah, I'm losing to this one person. I bet she's fought, like, a bunch of other people who she just completely destroyed. But, you know, it's like, if I can't beat the best, it's like, why even bother? Like, that doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Yeah, she or Brennan was really strong, just like in the beginning. Like, they had Pokemon that were just really well rounded. Like, most trainers or rivals that have good teams have like a variety. So, like, Blue, whenever he fought you, would either have like one of the 3 starters, and then he would fill the gaps with either Arcanine, Gyarados, or Exeggutor, and that would just, like, round out the core, which is Water, Grass, Fire.
Yeah.
And then May would also do that with, like, a Wailmer or a Camerupt, and I think some other grass Pokemon. But,
was it a Tropius?
No, I don't think so.
Probably something stronger.
It was another grass type Pokemon. It could have been Shiftry, or
Ludicolo.
it could have been, I don't know.
Yeah, I think of Ludicolo.
But yeah, she had a strong team, and then, like, afterwards you just don't see her, and then Wally starts to become your rival, and he's not really strong ever. So it's just like, I don't know. I think they were trying to show the transition between, like, oh, we're going from, like, this rival who will beat you down into, like, your friend. Like, this is your friend who looks up to you.
Yeah, I don't really like that.
Yeah,
it was a very uneventful rivalry.
But if I had to choose, I would say May, but she just didn't show up.
Yeah, I know. It was very disappointing. Like, after you beat her in, what was the name of that city?
I'm pretty sure the last time you beat her is, like, before the Weather Institute.
It's like after the weather, like after you beat Winona. Like, I remember that much. It's like
Fortree.
For, like, when you're in the city with the shopping mall, like right next to Safari Zone. Yeah. And then she just is gone after that. And I was very disappointed.
Oh yeah, doesn't she just ask you if you want to fight?
Yeah.
And then you don't have to fight.
Like, you don't have to fight her. I was like, well, I want to fight you. It's like I already beat Wally, like, on the way over here. It's like, I want to fight somebody who's actually kind of a challenge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lame.
Yeah. What can you say? But yeah, I didn't like Wally. I didn't like him at all, because at the beginning, when you meet him in your dad's gym, he was like, hey, can you go watch over this nerd while he goes catches his first Pokemon? I'm like, do I have to? It's like, yes. And then he, like, catches a Ralts of all things. I'm like, this does not fit your aesthetic, bro. Out of all the Pokemon you could have caught. Yeah.
It's allergic cuck.
Yeah.
Catching like some hentai.
Yeah. It was like, it didn't feel right, because I'm glad that they gave him Gallade like an Oras.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because Gardevoir does not suit what he was supposed to become, like a very competent trainer. Mainly because it's just, like, too flowy and everything, but, you know.
But Oras was completely undertuned.
Yes.
And then you just steamrolled it.
You still just steamroll him, yeah. But I still like Gallade, because with the whole Sir Knight aspect that it's actually named after, like, that one feels like it's a knight that's actually going to protect Wally and be able to do something.
I thought it was a nice little thing they put in there.
Yeah. But other than that, Wally, you're kind of forgettable, bro. I'm sorry, Wally.
Yeah, we'll forget about you next gen, don't worry.
Yeah, definitely. And just Gen 3, just a very good time. It was very fun.
It was nice. Like, the art very good.
Mm-hmm.
I would honestly say and dare to say that has some of the best art, just because of like I don't really like the 3D models. Like some of them take away.
Definitely.
But Gen 3 did a really good job, and it kind of set a standard for the next like 2 or 3 generations.
Yes, definitely.
Anything else?
No, now we can get into Gen 4. This is where I feel like Pokemon has really like exploded basically. Because this is when they did like 15,000 spin-offs basically.
Yeah, this is the renaissance of Pokemon.
Yeah. Starting with Gen 4, you got Dawn and you got Lucas. I mean, I always chose Lucas because he asked me if I was a boy or a girl. Like, I'm definitely a boy. I don't like Dawn's short skirt. I can't run around in that. I like pants. But, I liked, going back to the starters again, I liked Infernape and Torterra. I could not get down with Empoleon for some reason. I just thought it looked really stupid with its trident forehead.
I'm the opposite. I like Torterra and Empoleon. I don't like this red butt monkey.
That's
it just
fair.
looks really dumb.
That's fair. Yeah.
All my friends always liked the fire type, so I always tried to get the other one and beat them.
Yeah, that's smart move, big move.
But Water Steel is actually pretty good typing.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
I mean, if it just didn't look stupid, I would get it.
It does look stupid.
Yeah,
and it looks especially stupid in Pokémon Tournament.
Yeah. Pokémon. I wish they would add more Pokémon, but we're not on that topic.
It looks
right now.
good.
Yeah.
The starters, Torterra, very nice. I wish it was better.
Yeah, grass ground. Yeah, kind of weak. Hey, ice type Pokemon finally being relevant to be Torterra. So they got that single ice punch.
Torterra isn't even that good to begin with.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I still like
sad.
it. Like it's not the best stat wise, but I just like the looks of it, and that's 50% of it for me for a Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's like, how cool does it look?
Yeah.
We'll figure out everything else from there.
And they also added several ice types in this generation.
This is when
that were actually pretty good.
Yeah, this is when Weavile got introduced, right?
We had Weavile, we had Mamoswine, we had Frostlass, we had Abomasnow. Yeah, a lot of good ice Pokemon.
Yes, that's good.
But again, this was an even gen, so this added a lot of new Pokemon to existing Pokemon as like evolutions and babies. So we had Pokemon like Chingling, Mantike, as well as Happiny, Bonsly, Mime Jr., and then Munchlax, as well as like Weavile, Mamoswine, Frostlass, all the good stuff.
Lots of Pokemon there. And this is the generation that really dove into more of that exploration and adventurous exploits of what we were talking about in Gen 3, basically. Yeah, it was the whole Sinnoh region was supposed to be about mystery, uncovering secrets and things like that. And at the very beginning of the game, they set a precedent with that when you try to head to Lake Acuity to catch one of the 3 Pokemon, little sprite Pokemon.
One of the...
was it Mesprit, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And then Professor Rowan just leaves his bag there for some reason, and you got to fight off Starlies. It just felt like a very explosive beginning to deal with everything.
Yeah, it throws you right into the action, like Gen 3 does.
Yeah, same exact thing there. So yeah, again, like you were saying before, they kind of kept up the generalization of like what's going to get people into the game so they can go off on their adventure and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also the DS like version of like the art. It was definitely like an upgrade. There were some like effects that like took a downgrade, but like in terms of what art they could pull off in Gen 4, there was a lot more like 3D that they could pull off that they couldn't do in Gen 3. So like a lot of the trees and landscapes were all 3D while your character was 2D.
Yes.
They also had the underground, which I didn't really use all that much.
Yeah, me neither. I went down there to look for fossils, but when I didn't find fossils after 20 minutes, I left.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And then you have people on like Twitter who are saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to bring the underground back." I'm like, really? Like that? You just kind of dug up gems and they were kind of useless.
Yeah, I mean you could sell them, but it's like I'll go fight the Elite Four and get money far faster.
Yeah. But the gym leaders.
Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and kind of, because I feel like Platinum kind of encompasses everything that Diamond and Pearl were. I really like the way that they set up the way that the gym leaders work, because I remember that you went to Rourke, beat him, Then we went to, what was her name? Erica, the grass gym leader. And then who was the third one? I forget.
Wait, Erica? You mean Gardenia?
Gardenia, yeah. The girl who had like brown hair, black bangs or whatever. She had like a little, she was like an elf basically.
Yeah, she had like red hair and then like a black bandana or a headband.
Yeah, and she was like geeking out about Turtwigs. She loved Turtwig for some reason.
I think she had a grottle too, or a Turtwig.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. And then, God dang it, I forget. Who's who are you, gym leader number 3? Oh, whatever.
It might have been, Maylene was like 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fantino's 5th.
Yeah.
I like literally don't remember the 3rd one.
Yeah.
6th was like Crash Awake.
Yeah, 7th was...
7th was Candace. 8th was Volkner.
Yeah, and 8th was Volkner, yeah.
So
who is number 3? Who are you? Was it no, because Maylene, like you just said, she was number 4.
I think.
I'm sorry,
unless Crash Awake was 4th. No.
No,
Pastoria.
Pastoria?
Yeah, he's with the Spark Zone.
Oh, okay.
So that would have been later, like 6th.
I don't know who the 3rd gym leader is. God dang.
Okay. Where are we? We're Gen 2. Gym 2 is Eternicity.
I'm cheating.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'm gonna cheat.
Let's think about the types. Psychic, Poison, Rock. Oh no. It is Maylene, right?
Right. I want to see
because there's Rourke's dad.
Oh yeah, Rourke's dad, who was basically like Brock's dad, except he was even worse. If that's
lives
even
in
possible.
another city. What was his name?
Berg.
No, Berg is the bug in Gen 5.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's Rourke, and it's like steel or metal. It's a play on that.
Come on, Google.
Oh, this is gonna.
Byron. His name is Byron. It's
like iron.
Yeah.
So he was what, 8th?
Byron was like 6th or 7th. Because no, 7th was Candace and 8 was Volkner, so he was 6th.
He was 6th.
Yeah.
And then Crash. Then we would have. So we have Rourke, Gardenia, Maylene,
Fantina,
Crasher Wake.
Then we had
Byron,
not Byron.
Candace, Volkner.
Yeah. And for some reason, all the Sinnoh gym leaders were like, man, I don't want to be in my gym today.
Yeah.
They all had actual lives.
You had to do a side quest or a quest.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
them.
You want to go challenge Rourke? Yeah, well, he's in the mines. You better go get him out. I think he's depressed about his dad or something. You better go talk to him. Like, I'm a 10-year-old kid. Go talk to him. Cool. And then I forget what Gardenia's whole deal was, but I remember she just wasn't at her gym.
Yeah.
And then again, Maylene's thing was like she's depressed because she feels like she's one of the weakest gym leaders. I'm like, well, no, you're number 3 on the list, so you got to be better than Rourke at least. And then Fantina she was a contest coordinator, so she was always at her gym.
Her side hustle.
Mm-hmm. And then Crasher Wake I think his thing was that he was training, so you had to go get him.
A waterfall or something.
He's like, oh, young man, you want to challenge me in my gym? Well, come and bring it on then. And then Byron was at his gym. Byron actually was at his gym because he was hiding from his son.
Yeah. He was at his gym, but you had to do a whole like story quest with like this little girl or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Darkrai girl or
Ooh, yeah.
There's like a whole library thing where you had to learn more about the Pokemon world, and then you could just go to the gym.
He's like, oh, hey, Byron's back now. Did you read those books? Yeah, I read those books. Already, he's back now.
Like,
was he in there the whole time?
Read the history of our entire nation and our people, like the whole founding of the Pokemon universe through Arceus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I want to say,
I stay a lot,
Yeah, and then you go up to Snow Point, and Candace is hanging out with Cynthia, like in the ruins or something.
Yeah.
So you have to go all the way down there.
Regigigas, like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, it's like this Pokemon, it won't move.
It's like, would you give me a badge now, or?
It's like, nah, you have to come challenge me. Are you gonna go to your gym eventually?
Wasn't Volkner just like
depressed?
Just like
Volkner was just like. The more I think about it, a good chunk of the Sinnoh gym leaders are just really sad.
They're just dealing with some major shit.
Yeah, like Rourke is like, my dad sucks. Byron's like, my son isn't as strong as I would want him to be. He's the first gym leader. Maylene is like, I don't think my fighting type Pokemon are up to snuff. And then Volkner is like, I can't fight anybody strong enough to face me. And that's why I'm giving out gym badges.
Dang.
So I can sit on the beach all day and just look out at the sea. He's such an anime character. That's the funny thing about him.
On the beach.
Mm-hmm. And then
Builds sandcastles.
when you finally beat him, it's like, I finally feel my strength reignited. But then his whole thing is that, I remember if you talk to Flint when you get to the Elite Four, he's like, yeah, thanks for getting my buddy Volkner out of his funk. I'm like, why didn't you do that? It's like, well, I mean, we train together all the time, but why don't you actually like battle him? I was like, I don't know, man.
He's like, that's not my fault. It's not my problem.
I can't help the fact that he's sad all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, who's your favorite Gen 4 Pokemon? Or who's your favorite Gen 3 Pokemon?
My favorite Gen 3 Pokemon, it'd have to be Rayquaza or Sceptile.
Dang, okay.
Yeah, what
That's
about
a
you?
big leap.
Sceptile just look cool. I like the little, like, I always had Solar Beam on it because in the anime it would always, like, all his little, like, gecko things on his back would, like, light up as he was doing Solar Beam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also just, like, for some reason I was always really focused on his arms when he did Leaf Blade because they were kind of, like, twinged off to the side a little bit, yeah?
Because they are leaf blades.
Yeah. And it was like, the aesthetic fits perfectly with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that was his signature move at some point.
Yeah.
They, like, all those Pokemon, those 3 Pokemon had, like, signature moves, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yes.
Because you don't see that now. Actually, you do.
Yeah, you see it more often.
Yeah.
Everybody has a special move basically now.
Yeah.
So it takes away the specialness of the starters.
Exactly, yeah. I would say mine was probably Metagross. Who's your favorite Gen 4 Pokemon?
Gen 4 Pokemon? Garchomp. I love Garchomp.
Basic.
Shut up, Garchomp is great.
Garchomp is the most vanilla. Like, who's your favorite Pokemon?
Gosh.
Well, it's Lucario or Garchomp.
Well, at least I didn't say Lucario of all Pokemon. Like, come on.
I like Goku. Goku's my favorite Pokemon. Sean Schimmel.
Gosh, Garchomp is the perfect pseudo-legendary you get out of here. It's a land shark. How can you not like the land shark? And it can fly, apparently.
It
I
can
don't know
fly,
why.
but it can't learn fly.
It can't learn fly, the craziest thing ever. It can glide, I guess, basically. So you gotta go jump off the top of a building if you want to get somewhere. Or Drapion. I like Drapion. It's pretty cool. It's not very good stat-wise, but it just looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely like Drapion's kit. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's pretty bulky. It just can't really dish out too much damage. Unlike the anime would have you believe. You remember, like, during Paul versus Ash, Drapion took on half of Ash's team. It was hilarious.
There's like Drapion actually knows, or it has the ability Sniper, so it can like crit. And it does a lot more crit damage, so that might be why.
Yeah, maybe.
But,
I mean, those X scissors and cross poisons were messing up his team, so I guess so.
Yeah, but there's like there's one way I've seen Drapion be played, and it was in this like 1v1 format. And basically what you do is you acupressure so that you just raise your stats the whole time, and then you rest, and you just sleep talk so that you just keep acupressuring. And then I think the last move was like body slam or something, and it just whittled you down. And sleep talk doesn't get rid of your PP, so
really,
yeah.
Huh, did not know that.
So yeah, it's really hard to beat that thing.
Makes sense. Very competitively and just viable.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's see, the Elite Four. Who do we have in the Elite Four?
You got Bugsy. No. Aaron, that's his name. And you got
Aaron.
Flint.
You had Flint.
And then you got Agatha
Bertha.
2.0.
Bertha.
Yeah.
And you had.
This is Will.
I thought Will was
No.
Gen 2.
Who's the other guy?
Is it a psychic guy?
It's another psychic guy. I know that much. I forget his name.
Or was it Caitlyn?
No, Caitlin's Gen 5.
Caitlyn's Gen 5?
Yeah.
I know the Gen 5 Elite Four way more.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
But then you had Cynthia.
Yeah, Cynthia. Best champion to date.
You know, they always say that. I just have never. It's never been memorable.
I don't know. Cynthia was just. I liked her theme a lot. It felt like a very good culmination to everything that I had done on my journey. And ever since I beat Cynthia, I'd never had an issue with the champion ever again. So yeah. I don't know. Maybe just because my team was poorly optimized. Because they didn't have any electric type Pokemon in that
That
entire
might have
game.
been it.
Yeah. Or fire types.
Yeah, that's true. Like they had like maybe like one fire type and one electric type, but like that's probably what made her so hard. Is that they just squeezed all the life out of you.
Yeah. This is a very slow death basically, so you got to figure out what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what did you think of the rival though?
Barry, I'm gonna fine you, man. If you don't get here on time, I'm gonna fine you.
His words take up the whole text bar. Barry.
Thud. He's running
Thud
quite
Barry.
Everywhere. It's like
The ADHD spaz kid.
yeah. I lost to Barry one time when you're leaving Veilstone City, and after that, it's just like, Hey, you want to battle? Nope. Get out of my face, Barry. I was looking more forward to fighting Dawn the one time you could fight her, as opposed to like seeing Barry again. It's like character. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Barry. Can you just go somewhere else, Barry, and not waste my time again? Yeah. Because I remember when you're also trying to, this would be a good segue to Team Galactic, when you're trying to stop Team Galactic from getting all the Lake Trio, he's the only one who loses. The only reason that you and Dawn lose is because you don't get there in time, and you know, plot reasons. It's like, I actually gave Mesprit to one of my subordinates, you idiot, so I'm gonna run away now.
Yeah.
I was like, you're not a very good rival, you're not a very good ally. It's like, what are you here for, Barry? You're just here to annoy me, basically, and waste my time. You're like a mosquito, basically. Yeah.
Can you explain what Team Galactic was doing? Because I just don't remember.
Okay, so it was weird. Team Galactic's whole thing was to make a new perfect world.
Yeah.
But, what's his name? Cyrus? He wanted a perfect world for himself. Oh. So when they captured Dialga and Palkia and Giratina, Dialga and Palkia open up a little gate. Cyrus walks through it, and then he's just gone after you beat him.
Yeah.
And then in Platinum,
he comes back.
Yeah, he actually he goes into Giratina's distortion world. It's like, yes, a perfect world. And I guess a perfect world for him is just a world for him by himself and nobody else is there.
Oh, okay.
And then when you're in the reverse world, he's like, no, you can't be in here. This is my perfect world. Then you just kick him out, basically.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it's very... Team Galactic felt kind of threatening, but their goals were very dumb. It's just like, why are you guys doing this? Like,
it's like, why are you helping this guy? He just wants to be alone.
Yeah.
Just build him a box.
Yeah. And then I think this is the generation that also introduced like the Interpol, like International Police for Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
That's like when Looker finally showed up for the first time. And he became kind of a staple for the franchise basically after that. Yeah. Which makes me think like they should have like a Pokemon Interpol game where you're like a new agent or something. You go around to the other regions.
I think they do that in Detective Pikachu, but it's like, you know, it's another spin-off.
Yeah, that's a spin-off.
Yeah,
get out of your spin-off.
But in terms of combat, they introduced the split between physical and special moves because before, Pokemon just had a type, like the move type, and that would determine whether it was a special or a physical attack.
Yes.
So rock moves, steel moves, those were always physical, and then water, fire, electric, those were always special. But in Gen 4, we now have a split between, like Fire Punch is now physical because it sounds like it's a physical move.
Yes.
And Fire, like Flamethrower or Fire Blast, is a special move because it sounds like that. Which I think was very necessary. And while it may have changed some Pokemon, like Gengar, like Ghost Pokemon used to be like physical, and so Gengar was kind of trash.
Yeah.
But then it became really good because he had access to like Shadow Ball, but he also had his signature move Shadow Punch, which was physical. So you could choose what you wanted to do with the Pokemon, and it was no longer just like determined solely on the types.
Is this when we finally got Natures, or was that in Gen 3 too?
I think Natures were Gen 3. Yeah. Gen 3 also had like male.
Who uses male?
Nobody.
Yeah, like
it was defunct. I think they reintroduced it in Gen 6 with and then you could like give male to Pokemon when you Wonder Traded, which might be kind of cute. But
I mean, I'm imagining because of the way that the internet is, there were some very graphic males on there too.
I mean, I got one of the Pokemon I got was a Snorlax. It was a shiny Snorlax level 100 called Your Mom, and it was holding a burn heal. So that was my favorite Wonder Trade.
That's nice. That's good. Yeah.
But Gen 4, I don't know. They had all these weird evolution methods, like you had to trade with a Reaper Cloth or a Magmarizer, and that was just really, honestly, it was kind of annoying. Yeah. You had to have these items, and you could only have one per game, basically. And you can only have it on one Pokemon.
Yeah.
So if you wanted a Magmortar, you needed a Magmarizer, and you needed it to be a good, like, Magmar.
Yeah, same thing with like Electivire and Electabuzz and everything. I'm still sad that Electivire isn't like higher on the food chain, isn't it like PU, RU, or whatever like the U's are.
Yeah.
I just wish it was like maybe like What's under OU? I wish it was at least UU or something. Yeah, because I feel like it should be stronger. Yeah.
And you had Pokemon that didn't get like Jinx. They didn't get like an evolution that a lot of people wanted.
Jinx is kind of still stuck in the garbage can down there with Bayleaf.
While you had like, is it Lickitung?
Lickitung, yeah, you got Licky,
which is awful.
Yeah, I don't know why it exists. It was like popular for a little while in Gen 4, I think because of one of the movies.
Maybe.
That's about it. Because there was like a talking Licky in there or something.
Mm-hmm. But then you also had like a lot of good Pokemon, like Tangrowth, which is just like super good.
Yeah. Aesthetically, it's a very good pushing off point from Tankala. Yeah, I feel like it's a very appropriate. I mean, even though it's only like it's basically bigger and has 2 arms, it's like this is very aesthetically pleasing to look at.
The designs, in Gen 4 were really good. Like they also like stayed true. Like there were obviously some like Probopass, which were kind of like, oh,
yeah, it could have worked out that a little bit more.
Buried.
Yeah,
but there were a lot like Frostlass, which I feel like stayed true to the like Glalie, and there was like Dusk Noir, which looked like Dusclops, but like cooler. Like Yanmega, Magna, Zone.
Yes,
like those Pokemon were really cool. Honchkrow.
Honchkrow, yeah.
Ambipom.
I didn't like Ambipom that much, but it still looked good. I just didn't like it like to actually use.
But yeah, that like again, Gen 4 had a lot of Pokemon that were like 2-stagers or like, and they weren't very good, or they had like a lot of evolutions or pre-evolutions.
Yeah,
because it's in Gen.
I feel like since Luxray was one of the very few electric type Pokemon that you could have in the game.
Only one.
Yeah, it was like dark electric type. You think it would be a little bit, and it was also Volkner's ace, if anything. But it's just such a. It's not. It can't do a lot of offense damage. It's fast, but it's also very squishy at the same time.
It would have been better if it were dark electric. It's just electric.
It's just electric.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay.
It would have done a lot better because it would have had stab crunch. But yeah, it does not. So the first dark electric is Morpeko, unfortunately. Yeah, and that Pokemon is busted for a number of reasons.
Yeah, it's got the hangry mode, but we can get to that. That's it. Yeah.
But anything else in Gen 4?
Just a ton of legendaries that you get.
Oh yeah, there were so many.
Yeah, the Lake Trio, so that's 3 right there. You get the Creation Trio, Palkia, Dialga, Giratina. Giratina Origin Form just looks super cool, even though it's like basically a worm now, like spikes. The way that its little mask moves is really cool. Then you got Arceus, you got Heatran, Manaphy, Fion,
Shaman,
Cresselia,
Darkrai.
Darkrai. I like Cresselia and Darkrai's like whole rivalry that they go on. Like one of them brings good dreams, the other one brings bad dreams. And then Darkrai had its own movie, like it was just that popular, as opposed to its counterpart that only got like a couple of appearances in the anime, basically. Yeah. And it like went toe to toe with Dialga and Palkia for a little while. Dialga and Palkia, like during the Gen 4 movies, they showed up every single time because they were fighting about something.
Yeah, they were always at odds.
It's like in the Darkrai movie, Dialga got like a sneak attack in on Palkia when they were fighting one time. And then the Giratina movie, Giratina's just chilling out in its own world. Dialga and Palkia come in and fighting. It's like, dude, what the heck's going on here? And then in the Arceus movie, for the 3rd time, they're still fighting, but Arceus is mad about something. They're like, okay, we gotta calm down Arceus now. Like, hey, Giratina, can you come out of your room for like 5 seconds and go help us out? He's like, yeah, sure, I guess.
It's like the couple that always fights and they come to every party and it's like, what are you guys doing here?
It's like you're making this very awkward for everybody here. And they didn't show up in the Shaman movie. That's the only one they didn't show up in.
Nobody showed up for that one though.
Yeah, it was just
the
Shaman.
audience did.
Oh man, wait a second. Nope. No, I'm thinking about the movie. Because Manaphy, wasn't it supposed to be in Gen 3? Or wasn't it in Gen 3?
No, Manaphy was in Gen. It was supposed to be in Gen 4.
Okay, cool. Because I remember at the end of Generation 3, when they were doing the anime, Manaphy was like Manaphy and the King of the Ocean or something stupid like that.
Maybe. Yeah. There was a kind of a blurred line because there was a lot of overlap between Gen 3 and Gen 4. They also had Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, which came out before Gen 4 came out. So we saw
they were already shilling
Weavile, we had Lucario, we had Munchlax, Bonsly. Just a lot of like like Pokemon that we have never seen before.
Yeah, they were like, we can't show off all this stuff in the anime yet because Ash is still in Battle Frontier for some strange reason.
And then in Pokemon Ranger, that's the only way you could get a Manaphy egg is like completing some side quest that was like DLC, and then you could transfer the egg when Gen 4 came out. But then we also had like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and you had certain ranks, and the highest rank you could be was Lucario rank. And so like that game came out before Gen 4.
Yeah.
But it was kind of hinting at these new Pokemon.
Yeah. Then like again, Sinnoh spawned, so many Sinnohs, like all the Explorer games were so. Did you play any of the Explorers games?
No, not yet. I need to play them.
Yeah, I would say they're all really good, but it's Sky, like.
Play Sky.
Yeah, play Sky.
I do.
It's like did you play Red or Blue Rescue Team?
I played Blue.
Yeah, it's up there with Blue Rescue Team. They think it's that good. And the whole like just progression from like place to place is just phenomenal.
Is that the one with Dialga?
Yes, where he's the big bad.
He's like the primal Dialga.
Yeah, it's like they introduced Primal before like Oras came out, so I was thinking like in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, maybe they'll spin back to that again.
Yeah.
Doubt it, but you know.
No.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be
Just that.
third party recreating it pixel for pixel.
Yeah, they just had so many, and the good thing about the Explorer series is that they had so many just side content. They had so many episodes, or like say just random characters. Like for example, like in Blue Rescue Team, they would have an example, say episode Gengar or something like that. Like what did he do after the story or before the story, before your character showed up, basically.
And he just plays Gengar.
And you just play as Gengar, basically.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, and you also, for some strange reason, in the Sinnoh games, they made it so you had to partner like 3 separate times. You had like that green-haired lady when you're like moving to the mansion.
Yeah.
You had Riley who
Forest.
gives you the Lucario egg,
In the
and there was
cave.
like one more too, whose name I forget.
Well, there was there's the I think Marnie is like a black haired girl with like a white bow. I think she's later in the game.
Yeah.
And I think there was also a girl called Mira, like just pink hair and had like, and then there was Flint. Like there was a lot of like multi battles.
Yeah, they're like, can you help me get through this area? There's a lot of tough Pokemon trainers. Like, yeah, sure, dude.
Yeah, and that was really cool. Just because like you could actually play with somebody and you couldn't control them, but they would help you out.
Yeah,
And
again,
introduce multi battles, I think.
adding to that whole like adventure aspect, like you're running into somebody who can help you out in your journey a little bit. Even though the only one, I want to say the girl with the green hair, when you like drop her off at the mansion, she stays at the mansion a little while before you guys go your separate ways. So it felt like there was somebody like a part of my team, basically. You know, I felt like I was really adventuring around with somebody, even though it was
Just
like,
like they have humanity.
yeah, it's like a
as
little
opposed
while.
to just having like another stick.
Yeah, and then because Riley was only there to give you the real egg, and he's like, all right, tips his fedora.
He's
And
like,
he
thanks
sat
for
there.
getting to the end of the cave, and then like you exit the cave at the other end, at the exit. That's it. Like
Yeah.
it's like, why did I help him through the cave?
Well, that's just yeah. A little disappointing on that aspect, but yeah. I want to say there were, and then didn't they have a bunch of special events for Gen 4?
Yeah.
I want to say it's basically like, oh, you can get Deoxys or something like
Oh
that.
yeah. Because the internet and the GTS existed, there was just a lot more room to like have mystery gifts and like this download play where you would like transfer Pokemon and then just trading was wireless, which was super cool.
Good time with that. Yeah. Alrighty then. So
That's it for that one, I guess.
Yeah, you ready to go on to the dreaded Gen 5 now?
The dreaded Gen 5.
Yeah, did you like Gen 5?
I thought Gen 5 is probably one of the best.